So, Tomas, it's been a long time since we've done one of these, my friend. And when you texted me earlier saying that you were game to do this tonight, I only thought one thing. And I'm still on a Deadpool and Wolverine craze. I thought, let's fucking go. Let's do this.
Let's fucking go, indeed. To all the listeners of the ZNT Wrestling Show, thank you
Cheers.
for being patient with us. I am in the midst of a whirlwind in my real life right now. Everything's okay. Let's just say I bit off a little more than I can chew. But the podcast is part of my life, and I will always make room. I will always make time for it. And like we always say, the train never stops, and here we are. Thank you for being patient with our AEW Forbidden Door review. Thank you in advance for being patient with our SummerSlam review. You won't be waiting long for it. You just might be waiting a couple of days.
Yep.
And thank you for being patient with the never-ending retrospective while we go through all of our favorite pay-per-views. Not our favorite, every single
one. What are you talking about? December to Dismember 2006 is not one of my favorite pay-per-views. I'm dreading that.
We started watching professional wrestling, and here we are in 2006 now, the beginning of 2006, which I would believe to be a very underrated show. You look at the show on paper, and you think, wow, this is truly a filler show going into WrestleMania. I'm going to disagree with that. I think this was a very underrated show. Not perfect by any means. There are some filler matches on here. There's a stinker here and there, but this is not the definition of bad.
I am relieved that we're talking about a great show again because, listen, level with me here. New Year's Revolution 2006, not a good show aside from a Crash TV crazy finish. Royal Rumble 2006, very underwhelming and a poor show if you ask me. No Way Out 2006 I thought was great. And I have vivid memories, actually, of my parents buying this for me because, hey, talk about timing. I just kicked COVID's ass not too long ago. I rewatched this pay-per-view while I was fighting COVID, and when my parents first ordered this show, I was sick as a dog. So I was laid up on the couch, and I was just curled up. I was watching two of my favorite wrestlers in the main event, and one of my favorite main events of all time that I can't wait to talk about. But it's a solid show, up and down.
And we're actually, the beginning of 2006 is actually very solid for WWE because not only this show, I think WrestleMania and Backlash are very solid shows as well.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, after that, it kind of goes downhill from there. 2006 is very interesting. I think 2007 is even worse, but I'm going to appreciate. Yeah, 2007 truly is a dumpster fire after you know what happens.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Okay, fair enough. Yep.
Like I said, 2006 and 2007, I have a soft spot for 2008 and part of 2009, but we're entering a very weird phase in WWE. I like to call this the immature era. This is where WWE is really trying to recapture the magic of the Attitude Era, but all of the humor, a lot of their storylines are very immature. It's very, as a kid, I didn't mind it. I even laughed at it because that was my demographic. I feel like they were trying to target the teenagers of 07. It's a very weird time. It's around the time like Pineapple Express and Superbad and the stoner comedy flicks.
Big. And it's Talladega Nights.
Yeah,
Talladega Nights and Step Brothers.
Of immature humor. Hey, I like Step Brothers.
I love Step Brothers. Hey, that's one of my favorite comedies of all time. I'm not knocking it. So I get what you're saying, though.
It's the era of the comedy was perfect for the time, but you look back on it now and you just roll your eyes at it.
Yes.
And I think WWE, that's the perfect way to describe WWE's product at this time. Thankfully, we're in the beginning stages of 2006 where it's not all bad, but, you know, it's weird. This is a very weird era for WWE. Now that I'm done talking about that, here we are talking about No Way Out, emanating live from Baltimore, Maryland, at the first Mariner Arena with 11,000 in attendance and had a buy rate of 218,000.
Yes.
Like I said, we're on the road to WrestleMania, and I think WWE is cooking very well, especially with their main event storyline.
Yes.
In particular,
real quick, can we actually talk about the stage for this show? Because I have very vivid memories of like just ordering the pay-per-view again and just seeing that stage, just of the lock just hanging there and the chains on the side of it, and it says No Way Out at the top. I'm like, again, I miss unique entrance stages for pay-per-views. If that's one thing WWE is rolling in money right now, if there's one change constructively that I can suggest to Triple H and the creative team, especially in the presentation department, bring back the custom pay-per-view stages, please. Like,
I think I know why they're not doing it, because they are more concerned with packing these arenas to the brim, and they want a minimalist set. But I do understand where you're coming from. Hey, despite everything I said about '07 and '08 and '06 being bad years, this was peak WWE stages. You know,
yes.
Even the WrestleMania stuff I think is pretty good considering it's at the Allstate Arena. I have Backlash, Judgment Day, Vengeance Night of Champions, SummerSlam. These are all like peak WWE stages, and we
very good stages
for another 3 or 4 years before it all goes to shit. And honestly, when we get to like '07 and '08 in particular, the posters for WWE, nothing will beat 2007 like 2009 WWE posters, pay-per-view posters.
Oh, this one just had Randy Orton standing there all smug doing his pose. And you see it in the thumbnail, like, you know, when you click on the video, it's Randy Orton just sitting there, and like, he's a very integral part of the show, as I'm sure you were about to allude to. There's 2 big matches. It's a double main event, I guess. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me get this off my chest now. I hate, as much as great memories I have of WrestleMania 22, I hate the poster. It looks like it's a poster for a house show leading up to WrestleMania, like a road to WrestleMania.
Yeah, because it's Cena giving Booker T the Bulldog, right?
It's the worst WrestleMania poster of my entire childhood. You think of 23, despite who's on that poster, you know, the press conference with the main events on the side. You think of 24 with that beautiful logo. You think of 25, the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania with all the wrestlers surrounding, you know, with the Dallas Stars. And then you see this piece of shit that they gave us. I said, it looks like
so lazy, isn't it? So lazy.
It's so bad. But yeah, you talk about Randy Orton. He's a big focal point of this show. And honestly, you know, in hindsight, I think the story is constructed very well of how they're going to get Randy Orton involved in the main event. It's the execution of this story that to this day is very polarizing. Remember, Eddie Guerrero's death is still very fresh. And WWE may think they're paying tribute to Latino Heat. In other words, they're kind of tarnishing his name.
Yeah, we'll touch on that when we get there. But like you mentioned, Baltimore, Maryland, this is only a 6-match card. Very compact for a Vince McMahon booked show. And we open with actually a pretty familiar formula here, wouldn't you say, Tomas? I feel like we just talked about one of these at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, exactly, because it is almost the exact same thing from the Royal Rumble. It is a Cruiserweight open match for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship, just a few weeks removed from one Gregory Helms making the switch over from Raw to SmackDown to win the Cruiserweight title. Here he is again, and before I introduce the participants in this said match, how did we get here? Well, Helms just won the title. He successfully retained the title, I think, against Nunzio on an episode of SmackDown. He gets on the mic and says that nobody on the roster is better than him in the Cruiserweight division. So Teddy Long announces that he's going to defend the title against the whole roster. Helms is beside himself. I don't understand why he is, because he competed in the same type of match to win the title. It's too redundant for how soon they're doing it in his title reign. And honestly, the only difference here is it's all SmackDown people, and all the Cruiserweights kick his ass.
Yeah. So you have him, Scotty 2 Hotty, Paul London, and Brian Kendrick, who are a very established tag team, you would say. Funaki, the Mexicools, Nunzio, and Kid Kash. I could have sworn Jamie Noble was in this match, but regardless, riddle me this. It feels to me like with the build and the promos that Helms was cutting before this pay-per-view saying, nobody in the Cruiserweight locker room is better than me. You would think that this would be a story catered towards the end of the title reign, but Helms just won this belt. So it feels like the whole entire way his reign was booked, and this will be a whole theme as we go through the rest of the year, it was booked ass backwards to me. It feels like this is the match you do at the end of the reign, and then you have a big Cruiserweight savior coming in and beating him for it.
So here's the thing. Gregory Helms' Cruiserweight title run is goated. It is cemented in his legacy for the rest of his career. But You better get used to seeing Helms hold that title because he's going to hold it for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And also, this is the beginning of the end for the Cruiserweight division. I feel like this is where Vince McMahon just totally gave up on the division. No longer do we have great rivalries like Jamie Noble and Paul London, or Paul London and Chavo Guerrero, I should say, or like Jamie Noble and Billy Kidman, Chavo Guerrero and Rey Mysterio. Back when the Cruiserweight division had substance to it, to these title reigns, now it's a bit just either throw the ball in the ring at once or just have a throwaway match, a sleeper match on a pay-per-view or a sleeper match on a SmackDown.
It's lazy.
I said it before. I will never forget being a kid and watching an episode of Velocity, and I saw Kidman and Noble fucking tear it up for that Cruiserweight title on Velocity. We're not going to get that anymore.
The C show
is going to become an absolute afterthought. And it sucks because Gregory Helms holds this title with pride, and he's going to hold it for a very long time. So get used to it. But we're not going to be talking about him defending the title too much on pay-per-view because, like I said, Vince McMahon just does not care about this title anymore.
No, it's a prop to him now. Like, he's Vince Russoing it, if you will. Bro, titles are not meant to be like the pinnacle of sports entertainment. You know what they are, bro? I could give a title to anybody. I could give the title to David Arquette. I could give the championship, let's see, Jeff Jarrett versus Booker T. We're going to go ahead and do that.
What a piece of shit in the pro wrestling industry. Nothing against David Arquette. We know he is good. He is good. The world does not deserve David Arquette. But we're not here to talk about that crap.
No.
Talk about this match. I think for the most part, this was a good match, all things considered.
It was fun.
My biggest issue with it, it was a little long. Talking in almost 10 minutes. I know that's a little blasphemous to say. Less than 10 minutes is too long. But in a crash, in a demolition derby type of match like this, I feel like you could have shaved off a couple minutes and it still would have got the point across. I feel like there was some, believe it or not, some dead space in this match that was not needed.
Well, you know what the problem is? There's too many damn guys in the ring. You have 9 dudes that you have to catch up with, and you're like, okay, like, just either have a one-on-one match, or if you're going to have a multi-person match, I get it. You had 6 dudes in the ring at the Royal Rumble, so you don't want to do the same exact match, but it's too many people. Way too many guys in the ring.
A pet peeve.
Yeah.
These multi-man matches. It's not even has to do with the match. It actually has to do with the entrances. I don't care if you're a tag team. You're facing each other. Do not come out together. Not only do London and Kendrick come out together, which their entrance is sweet, by the way. Their theme song is great. I love the theater masks that they wear. I love how they just sprint to the ring. And the Mexicals do it too. You guys are opponents. You are not teaming up. I don't care if you guys have the same theme music. You should not be entering together.
Well, they only have 2 hours and 45 minutes of pay-per-view time to fill, so you can't separate those guys' entrances. You gotta fill it with more important stuff, right?
It's annoying. Famously, in a triple threat match featuring DX in 2009, they entered together, and I'm like, you guys are.
That was Survivor Series, wasn't it?
Yes,
that was Survivor. Yeah.
A damn good match, but they should not have been entering together.
Right.
But I digress.
Yeah.
There's some good spots in this match. Of course, you have your big guys jumping off the top rope into the pool of superstars.
That was London and Kendrick. London and Kendrick dove off the top. I was sold on these guys as a tag team. I remember as a kid, this was the first turning point when I was like, I love this team. I was already a Paul London guy, and I remembered Brian Kendrick when he was Spanky a few years ago, and I'm like, we got Spanky back, and now he's teaming with Paul, and they're just diving, and they look great together. They're a good team.
The fact that Kendrick was able to stick around for 3 years in the WWE without getting released so they could repackage him like this, it's awesome. Kendrick and London are going to be a team for the next couple years, and they are fucking awesome. I can't wait to talk about their tag team title run. Mm-hmm. This is just the beginning for them. They have excellent chemistry as a tag team. Mm-hmm. But yeah, your usual spots are here. Everyone's crazy.
Helms is playing defense for most of it. Scotty 2 Hottie, who I actually read up was a cancer survivor at this point in his career. He goes for one of the worst finishing maneuvers of all time on Helms, and he actually does hit it, the worm. Scotty, he hits the worm. Somebody breaks it up. Psicosis breaks it up. Kid Kash comes in. Kid Kash is so underappreciated. Dead level brainbuster on Psicosis. super crazy moonsault on Kid Kash as he's pinning the tag partner. They fight to the outside. Then Gregory Helms goes in, he picks up the scraps on Psicosis. He pins him, escapes with the title by the skin of his teeth. He's beaten everybody in the Cruiserweight division. Really nowhere else for this guy to go. Yes! Yeah, again, that's why I have an issue with this. Like, this is something you say for the end of the reign. Like, when you have all the ghosts of his past coming back to haunt him, and then he escapes by the skin of his teeth. Like,
could you imagine, not even on pay-per-view, but like every other episode of SmackDown, like Helms beats Kendrick, Helms beats Kash, Helms beats London, Helms beats Scotty 2 Hotty. And then at SummerSlam, they do something like this. It's just build a resume for this guy. You're right. They're kind of booking him ass backwards. And, you know, it's one of those instances where, like, well, Helms is beating everybody twice. What do you do with him now?
Nothing.
I'll tell you what. Nothing.
Yeah.
Do stuff with him, but not regarding the Cruiserweight title.
Yeah.
It gets a little frustrating how long this fool goes without defending this title.
Yeah, I mean, he defends it at Judgment Day, to my knowledge, but then after that, it's like he enters a feud with Matt Hardy, but even though Matt was a former Cruiserweight champion, he doesn't meet the weight limit this time. He wasn't drinking that banana juice anymore. He was back into the heavyweight division, and I'm like, you couldn't just bullshit something just to say Matt is a Cruiserweight again. Like, I don't really care. You know,
we will get to that feud when we get to that feud. I'm gonna give this match 2.5 stars. I thought it was perfectly fine. Just a little, believe it or not, slow for a Cruiserweight title match. Like, they got their big spots, but there was just like, it's like they hit their big spots too soon, and they're like, oh shit, guys, we still got like 5 minutes left. What do we do?
Yeah, this is
a lot of selling.
2.5 stars for me as well. This is basically the match where everybody gets their shit in. The chicken shit champion retains the title, and then we move on with our night. Nothing really offensive about it, but again, definitely some present issues with it. So, all the Cruiserweights chase after Gregory Helms. Again, this is a problem here. Helms runs away like a scalded dog. All the Cruiserweights chase after him, even after they've lost in a fair fight. It's almost like Vince is treating this like the hardcore title now, where everybody who he doesn't think matters chases after the Cruiserweight champion. Like, come on.
So
it's a Cruiserweight championship.
Because I thought about this too. And they all, as a kid, sure, I love seeing the heel get their ass kicked, but it just makes everybody in the match look like a sore loser because Helms didn't cheat to win. And it's just like, okay, paint this scenario. The Cruiserweights catch up to him and they kick his ass. What did you accomplish?
Now what? Now what?
You kick his ass and you get to take the title. It's not the 24/7 title. It's not the hardcore title. You look like a sore loser.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and speaking of sore losers, you see the United States champion Booker T in the locker room with a very faded blue U.S. championship belt. They're complaining to Teddy Long about having to wrestle Chris Benoit in a title match tonight because Booker is just coming off a groin injury. They literally get down on their hands and knees to beg Teddy Long, and basically Teddy says, hey, if you don't wrestle tonight, playa, you're going to be stripped of the U.S. title and you will forfeit it to Chris Benoit. Holla, holla, holla. And that's the promo.
I love this segment because Booker's just his I only want to say promo work, just his ad-libbing in this segment was really good. And I loved how he's like, I'm going to get on my knees even though it hurts. Like, he's trying to sell the injury. He's like, it's like he's forgetting that he's injured and he just doesn't want to defend the title against Benoit.
Right.
But then we cut to not a newcomer, but a new face in the WWE. And I've been waiting a long time to talk about this.
Yes.
You have Chris in the back, and she is about to interview the Fighting Irishman, Finley. His name is Finley. He loves to fight. He is not new to the wrestling business whatsoever. He is a veteran. He was in WCW. He has wrestled all around the world. And at his age, he is just getting to the WWE. And I'll talk about Finley in a minute.
Tomas, he had been a road agent before this character was actually brought to the screen. Finley was with the company for a while. Yeah, he was.
Oh,
yeah. He split up the Angle and Michaels fight at the Rumble the year before. He was there.
Oh, damn! I didn't know that.
No, Finley was a road agent before they basically told him, "Hey, listen, we want to put you on TV. And we want you to have you be this like fighting Irishman who's always like going out to the pubs looking for trouble." You know, his theme song should have been, "My name is Finley, and I love to fuck." You know, that should have been what it was. Could you imagine?
So that's Finley's gimmick. He wants to fight. always, and he's a good ass fighter. But basically, Crystal is interviewing him and just saying, like, what are your plans and what are your goals on SmackDown? And Finley's like, I'm here to fight, and there's no one for me to fight, so this is what I'm going to do. He's also a really good heel because he scoops Crystal up onto his shoulder and brings her out to the ring.
Yeah. They play his music. They play his music while he's carrying Crystal down.
But who's the knight in shining armor to come to Crystal's rescue? Wyatt Lashley, of course.
The real deal.
Scheduled, yeah. Lashley already has a scheduled match, but he needs to save the damsel in distress. He gets into a fight with Finley, and Finley here's how to describe Finley. He will punch you in the fucking mouth. He will kick you in the shin. He will scrap with you. He'll scratch, he'll bite, he'll claw. This dude just loves to fight. And this guy really brought the definition of smash mouth wrestling to an era that desperately needed it. You want stiff? Finley's your guy.
Yeah.
You want scrapper? Finley's your guy. And he was criminally underrated in his WWE run.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait to dig deeper into his run. But Lashley and Finley have a brief little skirmish. But speaking of stiff and speaking of guys who will knock your teeth out, Bradshaw's music hits, JBL, because there is a scheduled contest here, Bobby Lashley versus JBL one-on-one. JBL's limo rides out like it normally does, and then he sees that Lashley is preoccupied in the ring with Finley, so JBL is like scurrying down the ramp to take advantage of the situation so they can beat Lashley down 2-on-1. And yeah, basically the fight is over and Lashley turns around and like, what was... It's so weird how this was presented and how it was choreographed.
How this was presented, I would have loved this to be like Lashley he's behind the 8 ball the entire match. He can't really get his gears going because he just got attacked by Finley. And I thought that would have told for a better story, and that would have given JBL more of this would have protected Lashley a little more, because remember, this is very early in Lashley's run. Vince is all about this guy, but sure, Lashley has the physique, he has the presentation.
Yeah.
He can't wrestle his way out of a cardboard box, and he has the worst mic skills imaginable. So getting this guy over was a task and a half. And
desperately. Yeah. Go ahead.
I am devastated that Lashley is leaving the WWE. He turned into one of my favorite wrestlers. But watching his early career, this dude could have benefited from an NXT so bad. This dude needed an NXT because hard hitting but soft spoken. That was Vince's very nice way of saying this dude can't talk. Don't give him a stick.
He can certainly fight and kick your ass, but he cannot talk to save his life. So,
don't give me the stick.
Desperately needed a manager at his side as well. So, like a Jonathan Coachman, for example, would have been a great heat magnet for him if you wanted to present him as a heel. Sadly, they would not get that right for another 12 years when Leo Rush came into the picture, which is sad. But anyway, I miss that pair. But with that said, these two get in there, and the match is okay. I mean, the JBL is doing a lot of rest holds because JBL is getting up there in terms of his weight at this point in his career. He's slowing down a bit. A lot of rest holds on the green up-and-comer. And the crowd is so into this match that they start chanting, like, I hear a couple of people in the background go, JBL sucks! JBL sucks! And I'm like...
So, you really hit the nail on the head when it came to this match, because this is my biggest issue with this match. This match was boring. It was very, very boring. It was almost Batista versus JBL at the Great American Bash boring.
I thought this was better. At least he had a finish. These
guys got 11 minutes. Sure, you can work with that. It wasn't a 17-minute main event like that match was. So I'll give it a little slack there. Just have a guy like Lashley who is very green, and JBL has to carry the match, and he's got to put the heat on Lashley for several minutes.
Mm-hmm.
JBL's not a heat guy. Sure, he's a heat guy on the mic. He's a heat guy when he's cutting promos. But in the ring, like you said, JBL is really getting up there in weight. And spoiler alert, he's a couple months away from retiring. So for the first time. So JBL's mindset really has to be, I ain't bumping for anyone. I'm playing it completely safe. And rest hold city.
Yeah.
Whenever Lashley
he didn't play it completely safe in this match, because I'll give these guys credit for being stiff with one another. I mean, if you're in the ring with Bradshaw, who is a certified tough guy, like, you're gonna have to get, like, you know, physical with him. And JBL was actually cut open the hard way at some point. Like, there was a big gash over his eye. He kept going. He's a tough son of a bitch. He finished the match. Lashley eventually does make his comeback. Lashley hits a couple clotheslines, stealing JBL's finisher, of course. Then a bunch of belly-to-belly suplexes, like he's a ruthless aggression version of Brock Lesnar. Lashley goes for a Dominator. JBL escapes, so Lashley then counters with a T-bone. And then, we're not done talking about...
T-bone real quick. This is what I was talking about.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because Lashley... This was not pretty. It looked like Lashley was struggling to throw JBL. And again, JBL's whole demeanor was like, I ain't fucking bumping for anyone.
Yeah.
I am
you think
away from retirement. I'm not fucking bumping for this dude.
You think Bradshaw sandbagged him?
A little. Not on purpose, not to make Lashley look bad. It was just JBL, again, he ain't bumping for anyone at this point.
Yeah, fair enough. So Lashley is making his comeback, and meanwhile, as Bradshaw is sandbagging him, Lashley says, "Eat him! Go up for me!" You know, like he says something along those lines. So Lashley's making his comeback, but then Finlay comes back through the crowd. He throws ring announcer Tony Chimmel into the ring, and this provides enough distraction for the referee to help the ring announcer. Lashley is draped over the... Yes.
Is so creative. And we're going to get into this
he is.
a lot when he starts wrestling more. Because he'll do this awesome move where a wrestler will try to like do a baseball slide to him. He will use the ring apron itself to trap him in there, and he'll just bring him. And this is just another instance. And when Finlay gets his little buddy into the mix, he gets really creative with him too. But we're not talking about that right now.
Nope.
And I love Finlay was just so creative with the distractions, with his offense, and this was perfect. Has anyone ever thought of that before? Throwing the ring announcer into the ring to
the innocent ring announcer. Chimmel didn't do a damn thing. And Finlay
hopped on the apron and just distracted the ref. He could have threw a weapon in there. No, he threw the fucking ring announcer in there.
Yeah, so the referee is getting Chimmel out of there. Lashley is draped over the ropes, and then Finlay pulls out his weapon of choice, the Irish Shillelagh. He clobbers Bobby Lashley right in the freaking head. JBL then hits the clothesline from hell for the 3 count at 11 minutes. They say that Lashley's undefeated streak was over, even though he was pinned by Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series. So, this wasn't that big of a deal to me, at least. Even as a kid, I was like, Lashley, you were pinned. Like, you were pinned before this. I don't really care.
Considering how this match was booked, you could have swore this was like maybe the beginning of a longer feud, a WrestleMania program, perhaps. If Vince is truly trying to get Lashley over, why is he losing? Like, what does JBL benefit from pinning Lashley when he's 2 months away from retirement? And this didn't make sense to me. When I saw the finishes, I'm like, how does JBL benefit from this?
Well, it builds him up as the U.S. title challenger at WrestleMania, right? Be the guy that beats Lashley.
But again, we are 2 to 3 months away from this dude retiring. I know nobody knew that at this point.
I didn't. No way.
Nobody really knew. It came like a shock to us. But we're jumping the gun. We're a little away from that feud. I'm going to give this match a 1.5 stars. I almost gave it a star. I feel like that'd be rude. Ruder. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 1.5 stars. It was boring.
Bro.
It was borderline pointless.
I'm going 2.25. I found it mildly entertaining, if not for Finlay's interference at the end. And at least take JBL's challenging of Batista, the Great American Bash last year, out of the equation. That match this match at least had a finish. Batista versus JBL in the main event ended via disqualification on a pay-per-view. So I'll give them credit for at least coming up with some sort of a creative finish here. Builds up JBL for a U.S. title shot at WrestleMania, which we'll talk about. And Lashley and Finlay are going to be in a WrestleMania match, but not in the way you might think. And we'll touch on that.
These two are going to become synonymous with each other for the next few months. Again, can't wait to talk about Finlay. He is criminally underrated in this era of WWE. And it's just not to bury the lead per se, but I'm not saying put the world title on this guy. But this dude, I mean, he was involved in like main event scenarios. He will be a big part of the main event. He'll main event a pay-per-view here and there, but again, like there was not another worker like Finley, especially at his age.
Right.
This dude could go with his age.
Wily veteran there. Wily.
A gold mine of wrestling information, and thank God WWE. He's still with WWE to this day, and he's mainly an agent for the women's matches. So you can thank Finley for all these great women's matches. Him and Tyson Kidd.
Hey, Tomas, would you be intimidated by a man named Finley?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Easy peasy, right? Yeah.
He would stick his fingers in my eyes, and he would beat me with a wooden stick.
Yeah, a wooden stick with a big ball on the end of it, otherwise known as a shillelagh. Irish people can be weird sometimes.
Finley ain't playing any tunes on that. Let me tell you now. He ain't gonna play that shit. And
No
also,
way.
it's a good thing we're talking about Finley because on this past episode of Raw, Pete Dunne reintroduced the shillelagh back into WWE. I thought that was really cool. I popped for the shillelagh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beat the crap out of Sheamus, didn't he?
I know Sheamus has used like the longer variation of it, like back in the day, but I popped when Pete Dunne pulled that shit out because I'm like, hell yeah.
Hell
Finley
yeah.
Like, Finley probably went to him backstage and was like, here you go. Use it.
Passing the torch, fella. Passing the torch. Yeah, but so before we get to this next match, there's a very important piece of this show that I completely forgot about on this rewatch. And then Tony Chimmel gets on the mic and he's like, introducing tonight's surprise special guest, I Walk Alone hits, and out walks Big Dave. He's in street clothes. He's got his nice little shades on, probably eating a pack of Zorg nuts on the way to the ring, all while Chris Pratt enjoys... What's that?
Batista was in the ring?
Yeah, yeah. Well, probably didn't see him because he got to the ring at such an incredibly slow pace that you couldn't really detect his movements with the human eye.
But there was nobody there.
I know, right? Yeah, you could have put Star-Lord and Gamora in the middle of the ring, and they could have had a full makeout session, and you wouldn't have seen Drax come in. No no way.
I just find it very strange. At SummerSlam 2008, there was just this empty ring for like 20 minutes.
We're not to that first time ever match yet. Why was the
weird?
Hold on.
It was an empty ring for 20 minutes.
Why was the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 26 just an empty ring?
Yeah, there was a few instances where there was an empty ring, and I'll never forget that. Anywho, Batista is here, and I found this promo a little strange because it didn't really accomplish anything. Batista just talked about how he missed WWE, how he wanted to come back. But remember, this guy is just a couple of months removed from surgery. We are still very far off from him returning. So them teasing this, and I understand why he was there, as you're going to explain in a second. It was just like, you think if he was going to be there, he would at least say, hey, I'm X amount of months away from returning. It's kind of a very strange promo to throw in the middle of a pay-per-view.
Yeah. Well,
like they told him, hey, Dave, you're here. Go out there. Say what you want. We don't have a script for you. And he was like, well, fuck.
Well, Batista was clearly not at the point where he could improv a promo. Let's just say that much. Not at the level of improv that he has as an actor right now. So the reason why Batista was at this show, remember the location that we said, Baltimore, Maryland. Very, very close to where Batista is from. Basically, he was just going to visit the boys, and he missed it. WWE was in town, and he thought, you know what, I might as well drive over to Baltimore. So that's why he was here. It was just proximity. So he felt like it.
But to end this on a lighter note, when we get to Batista's return, I don't think I've ever been more hyped for a return in my life. It was one of those weird episodes of SmackDown. It didn't air till like 10 o'clock at night. And I remember begging my mom, like, please let me stay up, even though it was a Friday night. It's like, please, like, I've been waiting for Batista's return. I want to watch this. And she's like, okay, just don't be loud. So I remember being in my living room, just going,
so silent pop for the guy who you can't see in the ring. But anyway, so backstage, you also see Kurt Angle in his locker room. Speaking of the World Heavyweight Championship, he did also mention that he was looking forward to the main event to see two guys go at it for the belt that he never lost physically. He just had to give it up because of injury. Randy Orton approaches Kurt Angle and he says, Well, hey, nothing you could say. You're facing me at WrestleMania, and Kurt's like, I'm not worried about you, bro. I have the fucking Undertaker in front of me. Like, you think I'm worried about you right now? Like,
Peak Kurt Angle.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that later.
It's my favorite version of Kurt Angle, the wrestling machine, babyface form.
Up next is a match that you probably think I'm going to spit all over, but I'm not. I know. I'm going to say this match, and you probably think my head is going to explode, but it's not. Mm-hmm. We have the WWE Tag Team Champions, Eminem, Mercury, and Nitro, versus Matt Hardy and his surprise tag team partner. You ready for it?
Yeah? Tell me!
For it?
Tell me! Okay, we're going to do the tomahawk chop instead. Yeah, so, listen, if... two things. First of all, at this point, Matt Hardy is just begging for his brother's TNA contracts to expire so he can fucking join him here. But could you imagine if Jeff's TNA contract was up at this point? Like, everybody would have guessed that Jeff was coming back. And, like, imagine, like... I know the dirt sheets weren't really a big thing back then. Like, they were starting to become a little bit popular because people wanted to know the spoilers and what have you. And WWE was not very good at keeping secrets, as we'll talk about.
And again, this was an era where Monday Night Raw was not really must-see TV.
No.
So if people could read the spoilers and just go on with their day, they were gonna. They were gonna.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for SmackDown, because SmackDown was taped. SmackDown was taped on Tuesdays.
Nothing on Chris Chavez / Tatanka, but, like, this match and this whole presentation, I feel like it would have upped this pay-per-view at least a point for me if this was the surprise return of Jeff Hardy as Matt's mystery partner. Like,
alas, we are not there yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. You're going to have to wait like 6 more months, but...
6 months too soon. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. But
also, it is very, very, very important to point out this is not for the tag team titles.
Not for the titles. Not like the DVD. Not like the DVD box says, which always rubs me the wrong way. But what can you do?
This match, the structure, the fact that it's a non-title match, this screams, I want to kill myself. But
well, and the random tag team too. Like,
yeah, all of that. I should want to throw myself off a bridge right now. But
yeah,
all 4 of these guys came to fucking work.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I mean, like, Matt Hardy had a few spots here and there that I thought looked cleaner in other matches. Like, I thought the side effects looked rather sloppy on this show, but
Tatanka came to work.
He did. Yeah,
he was out there working with both guys. He was hitting pretty good-looking clotheslines on the outside. I think at one point he goes for a clothesline and he smacks into the steel post. He was in there bumping. He was in there selling. He made Eminem look good. Eminem made him look good. I talked about this at the Royal Rumble, how he was kind of over in the Royal Rumble. Tatanka did get signed to a WWE deal here, and he was not going to be the old guy just taking up a spot. He was in there to show, I can still fucking go. And I really appreciate the work ethic he was putting in at this time.
Yeah, but other than that, it's a pretty routine, basic tag match. Eminem is a great tag team. Matt Hardy and Tatanka by themselves are solid workers. Matt Hardy is a tag team specialist. Tatanka was in there with the youngsters, as you would call it, as an old schooler. He was hanging with them for sure. Didn't look like he was out of place at all, aside from the fact that his tag team partner is Matt fucking Hardy, one half of my favorite tag team of all time. Like,
Tatanka gets the hot tag, and he has a pretty good hot tag.
Yeah.
He's taking everyone down. He's jumping off the top rope. He's doing the tomahawk chop. And there's this...
Why is a Native American gimmick hitting a Samoan drop?
Could have been called the...
It's a...
Look, I know I'm Native American, I can say it, but I'm not even going to go there.
Fair enough.
The final sequence was actually pretty smooth, too, because all 4 guys in there, they're hitting moves on each other. And then at the end, it's a twist of fate and Samoan drop combo that gets Matt Hardy and Tatanka the win.
Yeah.
Now, okay, at the end of the day, this was just a special featured tag team match that gave them an excuse to pin the champions because it was non-title, a Vince McMahon special. He loved pinning his champions. But I had a fun time with this match. I'm gonna give it 2 3/4 stars.
You know what? I I don't know if I can go that high. I thought it was basic enough. I mean, the biggest thing that I remember of it, Eminem's getting the heat, and this is the first time you really notice Melina's scream at ringside. Like, if you didn't notice it at Armageddon because she wasn't doing it as much, but I guess Vince pulled her aside and was like, "Hey, you got to do that screaming thing more. People hate that shit." You know, like so.
Vince likes Melina. He really, really liked Melina.
Well, who wouldn't like Melina? Honestly, well, Vince McMahon likes Melina in the wrong ways, but yeah. So I'm gonna go 2.5 stars. It was a pretty routine tag match.
It was fun. I thought it was solid.
All right. Well, you want to talk about solid?
Yeah. You want to talk about this match? This is a great match.
It is
so much. I'm just busting your balls, man. This was a fun match.
It was for the United States Championship. One more round, because why the fuck not? Chris Benoit challenging Booker T. These two have been killing it for the past couple of months now. Sorry for my choice of words, by the way. But I don't know what else I could really say about these guys. They get in the ring and they have a really good match together, and the crowd eats it up.
Yeah, after that extremely discombobulated schmoz that was the ending of their best of 7 series for the United States with surrogate Randy Orton and everything. I think this was WWE's way of saying, look, shit went south because Booker got injured. Let's do this one more time because maybe this was the intended finish. You know, I'm not sure. Don't know what to say about this. But I forgot that Benoit actually won a Fatal 4-Way match to get this United States title shot. But the big story here is Booker's injury and how he is selling it. And he has just been trying every which way to not defend the title against Chris Benoit. I love this trope from heels. I love where they will find every and any single reason under the sun to not defend the title. I think
because he doesn't want. I mean, who would want to get the shit kicked out of them by Chris Benoit at this point? Who would?
It makes the babyface look really good.
Makes him look like a badass. Somebody you don't want to mess with.
Booker's really going out of his way to avoid Benoit because he knows when he gets him in one-on-one in a fair match, he's going to lose the title. So Booker T makes his entrance and he gets on the mic and he's like, you know what? I give up. Teddy Long, strip me of the title because I'm not good enough to compete and I'm not doing this, so I'm going to give up the title. It's kind of like this was Booker's weird reverse psychology way, maybe to garner some sympathy from Teddy Long, to be like, okay, I see you hurt, and the fact that you're willing to give up your title, you don't have to defend it. But as Booker's leaving the ring, he doesn't even give Teddy Long the opportunity to garner some sympathy because Benoit gets on the mic and says, coward. And Benoit, being the fighting horseman that he is, says, I am not taking the title this way. Get your ass in here. We're going to fight.
Yeah, like Benoit was gifted the United States title on the silver platter, but since he's an honorable dumbass babyface who doesn't take the easy way out, he wants to wrestle Booker T the honorable way for this championship. And he calls Booker a coward. Booker's thinking about it. Benoit's turned around, and then Booker slides in. His leg looks completely healed now. He ambushes Benoit, and the fight is on. These guys get, how long did they get? 18 minutes. Just like their Armageddon match, and I liked this match more. Believe it or not, I liked this match more than the Armageddon match.
I did too. This was very solid.
Yeah, these guys.
The chemistry starting from Survivor Series to now, and how much growth they have had. How many wrestlers can you say that they started off not having a good match, but like 8 matches later, and they're very solid together? I never thought Booker and Benoit was a good combination until we saw these last 2 matches.
Oh. Yeah. The Armageddon match was fantastic, but this one topped it. This crowd was into every single thing. This is how you booked a mid-card title. Like, there were glimpses. We've made so many jokes about how Vince did not give a shit about the U.S. or IC titles, especially towards the later years in his run as head of creative. But there were times where he cared. Like, I can't really deny that. Like, and Benoit and Booker were really elevating the prestige of this belt. So
can we talk about, at this point in his career, not saying he wasn't before, but how much of a fucking workhorse Booker T was?
Yeah.
You can always depend on Booker T to just put in the work, and if he has a guy that matches his ability, it's going to be a banger. But if he was in there with the guy he had to carry, he made his opponent work.
Yes. Booker was still faking his groin injury, and there were points where he would fake the injury to Lil Nate, the referee. Benoit would get up in his face, and then Booker would throw him into the steel steps. He was faking it. Benoit is falling for the same old tricks. What a dummy. What a dumb baby face. So Booker, there's some rest holds. Benoit comes back with the, German suplexes. He hits the three amigos. Of course, tribute to Eddie Guerrero, his best friend. Why is he wrestling right now? He should be grieving. Seriously.
Because he's using wrestling as a coping mechanism.
Yeah. Booker hits the Harlem Hangover in this match, Tomas.
What an underrated move. But after thinking about it, there's a reason why Booker T didn't pull this out a lot, because that move looks like a pain in the ass to not only execute, but it looks like it hurts.
Yeah.
It's a front flip into a leg drop.
Because keep in mind,
he
Booker
right on his tailbone.
Booker T is a very tall individual too, so this can't be easy on him. That's all I got to say about that.
So there's a reason why you don't see the Houston Hangover a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And fucking commentators, Michael Cole and Taz, I'm so glad the commentary's gotten so much better. They're actually educated on the history of wrestling. Because instead of calling it the Harlem Hangover, what does Michael Cole say? Oh, Booker with a front flip.
Yeah. Well, that was what he's been screaming is there, don't you dare bring up his WCW move.
Because Vince is petty. He's a petty piece of shit. So, Sharmell, of course, is on the apron as Benoit's going for the diving headbutt. Thank you, Sharmell, for saving Benoit from giving himself another concussion at this point.
Well,
what's that?
Anywho, no.
Scissors kick by Booker. Benoit, great near falls towards the end of this match. Booker, nobody really expects anybody to kick out of finishers, especially in the mid-card title match. Booker's scissors kick was a patented move, and he hits it. Benoit kicks out just barely. Benoit with the sharpshooter. Sharmell is on the apron trying to distract. Sharmell somehow is knocked off. Booker shakes Benoit off. Sharmell is knocked off by accident. Sharpshooter again. Benoit drops down immediately into the crossface as Booker is about to tap from the sharpshooter. And immediately, once Benoit locks in that yes lock, Booker T taps out. And I know what I said. We have a new United States champion. Benoit gets his belt back after all these months of turmoil from Booker T. 4 stars from me. This is a great, great match here. Really enjoyed this.
I'm going to give this match 3 3/4 stars. It was very solid and very good. I enjoyed it a lot. It was a good finale to this long feud that we've been getting since the summer. Can you believe that? This started in what? August, September?
It's crazy, isn't it?
First won the United States Championship from Orlando Jordan. And it's just been going and going and going all the way until about WrestleMania time. I love the shot of Benoit going up the ramp holding the title. And in the Titantron, you just see Booker sulking that he lost his championship. It's just a nice definitive finish to this feud.
Great finish to this feud. The fans are chanting "You tapped out" at Booker T, which is a chant that I really wish WWE fans would use more nowadays, just because I think it's so damn funny. Yeah. So Booker and Sharmell leave. They get the losers treatment. They really do, because next month at WrestleMania, Benoit goes on to defend the title against JBL, who is the WWE champion going into WrestleMania 21. Booker T and Sharmell face Boogeyman in a handicap match. I'll give you 3 wild guesses as to how that match went. It was so bad.
There's a reason why Booker T was very frustrated with his run at this point, and very, very rightfully so. They're going to make it up to him in 2006. They really are.
They are.
We still have Booker T for a good period of time before he fucks off to TNA, which, believe it or not, he said he hated his time in TNA, which is really ironic. Went to TNA because he was frustrated with WWE.
He still bashes TNA every time you see Joe Hendry pop up on NXT TV, and Booker's like, "What the hell is wrong with these people? This is a TNA guy."
Hated his time in TNA.
Yeah,
and rightfully so, because they didn't know what to do with him.
Yeah, they really didn't.
He will go on account and say half the shit in TNA I don't even remember doing because I was just goofing off the entire time.
Yeah.
Which honestly benefited us as fans because his stuff in TNA was funny.
It was.
His
It was.
commentary was fucking goated.
Oh my god, him creating a fake
Booker T.
Him creating a fake belt for himself.
Yeah, but we still have Booker T for a good year and a half, so we're not going to be saying our farewells to the 5-time WCW champion.
Well, we haven't even gotten into King Booker yet. I'm so looking forward to that.
He's going to be in the best. 2006 is his year.
Yes.
2006 is Booker T's year.
I agree.
But yeah, we are going to go into a very, very, very polarizing match. Up next is Randy Orton challenging Rey Mysterio for his WrestleMania World Title shot in a one-on-one grudge match.
Hey, Tomas. Eddie's not in heaven. Eddie's in hell.
So this is Randy Orton's grand master plan to get himself into the main event of WrestleMania.
Jesus Christ,
he
dude.
Is perceiving that Rey Royal Rumble, and he wants to take that away from him. So he challenges Rey at No Way Out for his title shot. And the way he gets this is he is just rubbing salt in the wound, just totally taking a giant turd in Rey Mysterio's punch bowl, raining on his parade. And the way he gets Rey to agree to this match, Zack said it, and we'll say it again. He's cutting a promo on Mysterio in the ring. He says, "You keep looking up at Eddie like he's in heaven. But I'm going to tell you now, Eddie ain't in heaven. Eddie's down there in hell."
Who the fuck approved this? Like, do you think Vince ran this by Vicky before this promo was cut on television?
Of course he didn't.
Do you think he ran it by Chavo?
No.
Again, just... We already had issues with them exploiting Eddie Guerrero's death at the Royal Rumble, having Rey Mysterio basically win the Rumble match as a surrogate for Eddie Guerrero. Like, really? Really? We had to go here? We had to go there, though.
Rumble is a
I'm fine with it, too.
For me.
I'm fine with it, too. But I'm just saying, like, when you're talking about exploiting Eddie's death, this is the lowest of the lows right here.
It really is. It's like, it's not that even Mysterio's fighting for his title shot. He's like fighting in Eddie's honor, which he shouldn't have to do.
No.
Like Randy Orton was still trying to find his footing as a heel, in my opinion. Like he hadn't quite hit his stride as a heel.
Not yet.
It was there. The components were there. We're not voices in my head kicking people in the head, borderline schizophrenic Randy Orton yet. But it's just like, this was just such scraping the bottom of the barrel, cheap heat style. Like,
and then
a lot of people were giving MJF shit for bringing up Will Ospreay's dead grandma in AEW recently. And this is just very reminiscent of that.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm okay. Look, I'm not a little sensitive snowflake. I'm okay with bringing in real life elements into my wrestling. But this is so fresh. And
yeah,
it's like Eddie Guerrero's death is being used as a storyline element. It's like, let the man rest in peace.
It's like the
his widow and his nephew and his best friends are still reeling from this death.
Yeah, it's like the stitches were just put into place on this wound, but there's still a little bit of blood creeping out of those stitches. Like,
and you got that asshole friend that's picking at it. He's picking at those stitches just to see, how much can I pick at this wound before it reopens again? It's like, the Guerrero family wasn't even given time to properly warn. And now he's being used storyline element for cheap heat. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
It's like, you already have the stakes. Rey Mysterio's world title shot is on the line of this match.
Which is a No Way Out staple. It's always been a No Way Out staple. Think back to The Rock versus The Big Show in 2000. Think back to Triple H versus Kurt Angle in 2002, a show we talked about years ago.
This wasn't even a No Way Out pay-per-view, but think about Roman Reigns and Bryan Danielson at Fastlane 2015. They made the pay-per-view before Mania. There's always stakes with the title there. So the components were there. Randy Orton is trying to ruin Rey Mysterio's WrestleMania plans.
Yeah.
This wasn't needed.
It wasn't.
With that being said, this was a damn good match.
Yeah, these guys, given the build and given the circumstances and Randy Orton being given shit material to work with, these guys put on one hell of a match. It was super competitive. You felt the stakes between these guys, and you felt like Rey Mysterio like wanted to freaking tear this giant down. Randy Orton's not a giant like he is right now, but Rey Mysterio compared to Randy Orton, Rey's like looking up at the redwood here, and he's like, how am I gonna tear this guy down? Like, how am I gonna make him get surgery 5 times in his left knee?
Let me say this and let me explain myself before your head explodes, because I know it's going to when I make this comparison.
Oh boy.
This match actually had very reminiscent to Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio from SummerSlam 2002. Not as good.
What?
Here. You gonna let me explain myself?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Not that good, because that match is amazing. Not that high octane, not 60 moves a minute, but just the way it was structured in the way of, I love a good big man versus a little man. And I thought the intensity was there, that these guys were clicking very well, that they could read each other, and Rey could use his high-flying offense. And Randy Orton's counters, just the counters in this match were really good.
They were.
We're into this.
You know what else was really good? Randy's selling. Because there was a point, I think, where Rey just kicked him in the face or something, and Randy does that thing where he's like he's being possessed or something, and then he falls to the, like, it's a big tall handsome man falling down to the floor.
Also, it's just that I love those instances where Rey Mysterio was just firing on all cylinders with his high offense, and it just takes one move to just halt Rey Mysterio's momentum. Rey goes for like a Hurricane Rana outside the ring. Not only does Orton catch him, he slams him into the steel pole, and that's when Orton was able to start getting his feet.
It was really good. Really good. Yeah, no, Orton was working over the arm. There was a big bullseye on Rey Mysterio's arm, and Orton was working it over in the rest holds. Oh, man. Rey with a beautiful sunset flip powerbomb off an electric chair position on the top rope. Oh,
so good.
The near falls in this thing were great. And again, you really felt the levity of what was on the line here. Again, the build didn't really say, hey, Rey Mysterio won the Royal Rumble. He's putting his title shot on the line here. But this match, the match by itself, if you take the build out of it, you totally got what it was, you totally got what these guys were fighting for. You understood it.
And the finish was so good, but so heartbreaking at the same time. Even though we know what happens at WrestleMania, you just felt the wind taken out of the sails of this crowd. Oh. So you think Rey Mysterio was going to win. He drop kicks Orton into position for the 619. And this finish is just so clean.
Yeah.
Rey goes for the 619. Orton ducks from it. He immediately goes into a schoolboy. He stacks him, and he grabs the rope. And Orton wins.
Yeah.
Orton gets Rey Mysterio's world title shot at WrestleMania. Complete silence amongst the crowd. It's like, even me as a kid, just like, are you fucking serious? You're going to take Rey's title shot away from him?
Mm-hmm. Granted, the silence from this crowd wasn't as deafening as when Brock Lesnar broke the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania, but you could certainly sense that this crowd was devastated for Rey Mysterio, and Rey Mysterio sold that situation so well, because he's on the verge of tears. He's like beating on the apron, like he can't believe it, dude.
Here's what I mean about Randy Orton doesn't need this cheap heat to get heat, because all Orton had to do was cut this promo that he did after the match. He gets on the mic and he is elated. He says, I'm going to the main event of WrestleMania. Hey, Rey, where are you going? Like, oh,
that's all he said. That is all.
Bastard.
That's all he had to say. A disgraceful character, as Michael Cole called him. I'm gonna give this thing. Is it too not generous to say 3.5 stars? Because I'm thinking 3 3/4. Okay, I'll go with that then. I really love this. I love this match. You know what's super impressive about it? Just watching it and us talking about it, not a single finishing move was hit.
Nope.
Randy Orton did not hit the RKO out of nowhere. Rey Mysterio obviously missed the 619. That would have been the death blow. Randy Orton cheated to win. And yeah, Rey Mysterio takes the walk of shame through the back, and the whole locker room that was greeting Chris Benoit with congratulations after the last match, they're just so sad for him. And he walks up to Chavo and to Vicky, and he's like, I'm so sorry I let you guys down. And Chavo's like, listen, brother, you did not let us down. I'm so proud of you. And, they embrace. Rey Mysterio is dejected. He hits the wall a few times on the way to the locker room.
God.
Yeah.
So I've always said this about Rey Mysterio. He was never the strongest promo.
No.
Dare I say, cutting promos was actually his weakest suit in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. There's a difference between cutting a promo and selling emotion. And I don't think anybody sold emotion the way Rey did. You felt bad for him.
You really did, dude.
You wanted to console him. You wanted to hug him and tell him everything's going to be okay. Just keep going.
Yeah. Vicky was in tears. Chavo was standing there as the strong guy, and he was like, it's all going to be okay, brother. I'm so proud of you. And he hugs Rey Mysterio as he walks off. That's a really good segment, I thought. I mean, I think that's, again, we did not know the ramifications of what was going to happen next. We did not know at the time that it was actually going to be a three-way at WrestleMania, and Rey Mysterio was added back into it. But you felt so bad for him.
Though, when we get to WrestleMania, because that is another core memory when he got added to that match.
Yeah.
Sure, it was, I don't want to say it was a cop-out in the way they set it up, but, they wanted a three-way at Mania, and this is the best they could do to get there. But man, again, we know the story has a happy ending, but it's crazy that in 2006, Vince was still booking compelling storylines like this.
He was.
Again, take Eddie out of the equation. Rey selling the emotion that he just lost his world title match is all we needed.
That's all we needed. We did not need the fact that he was fighting for Eddie Guerrero's honor. We certainly did not need the fact that Rey Mysterio was essentially Eddie's surrogate as the most marketable Latino talent on the roster. Like, obviously Rey is not Eddie Guerrero. Rey's wearing a mask. He looks so different from Eddie Guerrero. Like, you're not going to tell me that this is the same dude. Like, he's not a surrogate. It's Rey Mysterio. So sell that part of the story.
Again, if Rey didn't connect with the crowd the way he did, I don't think he'd be in this position. So I'm tired of people saying, oh, they only gave him the title because Eddie died.
No way.
Rey Mysterio has this special connection, especially with the young fans.
Yeah.
Like, I remember hearing this statement, and I will hold this to my day. Who doesn't love Rey Mysterio? If you don't like Rey Mysterio, I seriously want to know who hurt you as a child.
Yeah.
Because Rey Mysterio, like I said, he is pro wrestling Spider-Man. And if you don't like Spider-Man, then I want to know who hurt you as a child.
Yeah, it's like, it's the same reason why kids grow up loving Spider-Man, because they see a smaller guy, kind of lanky, but he's a superhero to them. He looks like them. Rey Mysterio, short guy in stature. So the kids obviously looked up to him, and they kind of envisioned, like, they're living almost vicariously through Rey Mysterio in a way. Because they're like, this guy, like, reminds me of me in a little bit. Like, I'm a kid. I want to be a wrestler. Rey's a small guy. Like, I don't know if you get where I'm going with this, but Rey inspires people. Oh, yeah. He does.
Relatable.
Yeah.
He's relatable.
Bingo. That's the word I'm looking for. But, yeah, phenomenal match. And this show is on a hot streak. But little did I know, even though...
Here we go. Get your tissue paper and your lotion ready.
Shut up! Hey,
insane for this match.
Yep.
Because who's in it?
Sit down.
How the match wins.
Okay, calm down.
I love this match too.
Yep, it was amazing. Kurt Angle defending the World Heavyweight Championship against the Undertaker. Like, if you were to tell me to list my five, fuck off. You were to tell me to list my 5 favorite wrestlers, these two blokes would be on that list for sure. They would have a first-class ticket onto that list. So I was so pumped to see this as a kid, despite the fact that I just saw Rey Mysterio lose. So I was sitting there and I'm like, this is so unpredictable. Could we get Angle versus Orton? They teased it. But could we get Taker winning the title here and have a rematch between him and Orton from last year? Those possibilities were running through my head.
If this was 2012, then they 100% would have went in that direction. But thank God Vince still has some brain cells left in that weird old head of his.
Yeah. So referee Nick Patrick
holds pretty overrated, actually.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? These guys.
2 stars.
No, you're not giving this a.
Chris Lash would have given this.
Yeah. No, we're gonna sit here gushing about this match, and then if Chris was sitting here, he would have been like, "I give it a 2. I give it a
What
2.
what an overrated, overbooked match Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler versus Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks was. And I give it 3 3/4 stars.
I give it. Oh, we miss you, Chris. So these two guys get in there. They have this epic stare down, and these guys go 30 minutes. And I'm just gonna say this right now: this is the 2006 match of the year. It really is. Like, there's one other match that I feel like comes remotely close to this, but this is the best thing all year in WWE for me. These guys.
I need to talk about.
Yeah, these guys get 30 minutes, and anybody who wants to sit here and tell me that wrestling is fake, get that stick out of your ass, first of all. I've heard that song and dance many times in my life, but if you want to introduce somebody to the industry just based on the legitimacy and the physicality of what these guys are actually doing to each other, this is a match I would show those people. These guys beat the hell out of one another, and it was
2 things. Number 1. What you said first. Where else can you go to see an Olympic gold medalist and a guy who is dead beat the ever-living fuck out of each other for a big gold belt?
Funny enough, we're recording this while the 2024 Summer Olympics are going on in Paris, too, which I'm sure Kurt Angle is watching with very, very invested interest.
I want to talk about this spot now. So Kurt Angle hits a fucking German suplex from the ring apron into the barricade. And during this, the referee is counting Taker out. He almost gets the 10. And Angle stops us and says, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
Don't fucking count him out. He went fucking scorched earth on this referee.
Yeah, and then he says,
insulted his mother.
And then he says, "Don't count or you're fired. If you count, you're fired.
I'm the final boss.
Look at this. Look at your son. Look at your son now, Mama Ro."
Kurt Angle just berates this referee, grabs his arm and says, "What the fuck are you doing? Don't fucking count him out." Like,
yeah. There was a lot of crowd brawling in this thing too. Not crowd brawling, but ringside brawling. These guys were fighting all around the ring. Kurt Angle actually locks in the ring post figure 4 leg lock, which is fitting because Bret Hart was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame the next month. Or as Lindsay, my girlfriend, would call it, 2 men scissoring each other via the ring post. Right? Yeah. No, you can't tell me otherwise. The figure 4 leg lock is just 2 dudes. It's just 2 dudes scissoring each other. Yeah, that's all it is.
Lindsay, I would like to have a word with her later.
When she gets back from vacation, yes, I will let her know. But anyway, yeah, Bret Hart.
I can text her. Lord knows she just randomly texts me out of the blue for say random shit.
Fair enough. Fair enough. This match is absolutely amazing. Chokeslam attempt from Undertaker. Angle is going for the knees, really softening up the leg for the ankle lock. And I love the fact that the announcers said from the get-go, once the bell rang, neither one of these 2 men have ever tapped out in their careers. And these guys were going for submissions a good majority of the time. You didn't see Undertaker go for a tombstone pile driver. You didn't see Taker attempt the last ride, really. Like, he was going for the triangle choke a lot on Kurt. He was trying to make Kurt tap.
People don't realize how much of a ring technician the Undertaker is. Like, when he wanted to, he could fucking go.
Very large dude. 6'10", 305 pounds, and a ring general, if I ever saw one.
Both ring technicians, both master psychologists, too. The ring psychology in this match was excellent.
Yeah, so these guys are brawling on the outside, obviously. Angle locks in the ankle lock a few times outside to really soften up the leg. And if Taker taps out, the match isn't over because you have to do it in the ring. So Kurt is...
The ring psychology. He's doing it so when he gets it locked on in the ring, he knows Taker's going to tap.
Yeah, softening him up.
Taker tap is not an easy task.
And again, while they're crowd brawling, let's say referee Nick Patrick gets up to an 8 count. Kurt Angle breaks the hold, rolls back into the ring to break the count, and then he locks the ankle lock right back on.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. These guys, you can tell that they were both big UFC fans, too, because they really wanted to do something similar.
It's almost in the sense of Kurt Angle was not going to be satisfied unless he made Undertaker tap out.
Yeah. So, Angle hits the angle slam on Taker through the announce table, and I believe that's where the spot happens, where you referenced earlier, where Angle tells Nick Patrick, "Stop your count! If you count, you're fired. Like, Kurt doesn't say that, but yeah, I think that's where it happens. So
Okay, yeah.
so Taker and Angle again just start brawling again. Undertaker goes up to the top rope, which Michael Cole points out Undertaker never goes for any sort of aerial offense unless he's hitting old school. And Kurt goes for a superplex. Taker blocks him. These counters are so fucking amazing, dude.
They are.
I adore this match so much. It was such a treat to watch it again.
And you know what? Considering the ring psychology of this match and how good it was, I thought the finish was perfect.
Yeah. So Taker ends up hitting the choke slam, rolling out of the ankle lock. Phenomenal near fall. And I remember as a kid, I believed that Angle was going to lose to the choke slam. I thought that was it. But then Angle kicks out, and I'm just so invested in this because I really could have seen this going either way when I was younger. At least, as a kid who was going on 10 years old, I was like, I could have seen it going either way.
I understand behind the curtain why things went down the way they did.
Yeah.
But how does Vince not look at this guy and be like, this is going to be my guy for the next 10 years? I understand what Angle was going through at this time. And in an alternate universe, Angle gets the help that he needed a lot sooner than he did. And Kurt Angle would have gone on to, I could have saw this dude going until 2014.
Yeah. Oh, he totally could have. He was trying to show the world that he was the best professional wrestler on the damn planet.
He was.
Yeah. An Olympic athlete.
WWE's loss was TNA's gain.
Yeah.
God damn, what a fucking match this was.
God, Taker goes for the last ride. Angle rolls through into another ankle lock attempt. Taker, again, these counters are so tremendous. These guys just are back and forth. Tombstone pile driver. Undertaker has Kurt up for the tombstone. Angle, like a freaking pit bull, grabs onto the bad ankle while he's in the tombstone position, rolls through into the ankle lock again, and Taker's selling of the ankle lock every single time is just glorious. Because, again, you don't normally see a zombie become, human in all this, Taker was a zombie, right?
The leg.
Why didn't he do it? I guess Taker's leg was too big for him to do that.
So Kurt Angle is actually one of my dad's favorite wrestlers too, and he always planted he planted the seed in my head for this thing because every time Angle would grapevine, he'd be like, "It's over, it's over," and he was right. There is no way you can escape from the ankle lock when it's grapevine.
Yeah, the crowd is just going absolutely apeshit at this point for these two guys. The only thing missing was a "both these guys" chant, which nobody knew how to do at the time, so I'm willing to give it a pass. He does actually grapevine the leg, and Taker rolls onto his back and kicks Kurt Angle as hard as he can in the fucking face, and that's enough to break the hold. Taker then locks in the triangle choke. Angle is turning into a fucking cherry at this point. His face is so red. He's about to pass out to the triangle choke. They do the dramatic, hand drop thing, and the match is almost at a half-hour point, and Angle hulks up, before the arm goes down for 3. He flips over. Taker is in a cradle position. Taker still had the triangle choke locked in. The referee counts 3. Taker's shoulders were down, and Angle wins. It was fucking awesome.
Perfect.
5 stars. 5 stars. Best match of the year.
I'll give it a star.
No, you're wrong.
Too long. Boring. Phenomenal match.
Yeah,
absolutely phenomenal match. And then even better, the aftermath. Taker extends the hand for a handshake. He shakes his hand, but he pulls Angle right in front of him, nose to nose, and says, "I'm not done with you." And that was just,
I got your number. I got your
down my spine. But I got some very bad news, ladies and gentlemen. This is the one and only time the Undertaker and Kurt Angle will wrestle.
This iteration of the Dead Man Taker, at least on pay-per-view, they do have a rematch on an episode of SmackDown that is phenomenal.
They do?
Yeah, they do have a rematch on SmackDown. Taker actually, he does hit a tombstone on Kurt in that match, but Mark Henry actually does cost Taker the contest. So, yeah, and that's how the casket match is set up. So,
You are right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, this match is far and away better because you didn't have any interference. This is about as legitimate fight for a WWE match as you can get, I think. Like, you could tell that these guys were really into mixed martial arts, and part of me thinks in a parallel universe that if Kurt Angle won the Olympic Games, let's say, like 8 years after he actually did, Kurt Angle would have transitioned into mixed martial arts instead of pro wrestling. For sure. Like, the timing for Kurt winning the Olympics and transitioning into pro wrestling could not have been better. So, I loved it. Love this match. It's my favorite WWE match of 2006. There's only one other match that comes close to this, like I mentioned. We won't talk about that until Unforgiven comes around. And even still, this match is way better than the match I'm thinking of.
I am going to give this pay-per-view a 7.75 out of 10. I was thinking about 8, but I think that'd be way too generous for a show of this caliber. You know, the undercard was not terrible. You know, first 2 matches were there. I liked the tag team match, but the second half of this card was very solid. And if you're going to check out those 3 matches right there, Ray, Orton, Taker, Angle, Booker, Benoit, very solid wrestling, very good story.
Worth the price of admission right there. I'm actually going to go ahead and be generous and give this, actually, no, the more I think about it, yeah, 7.75 is about fair. This is my favorite WWE match of the year in 2006 in the main event. Can't get enough of it. If you've never seen Angle versus Undertaker, it's shockingly a hidden gem. Like, not a lot of people are talking about this match, but I would put this up there with fucking Angle and Michaels at WrestleMania. I really would. Like,
I would put this up there with Triple H and Stone Cold, 3 Stages of Hell from 2001.
From No Way Out as well. This is Undertaker's best match since he returned with the Dead Man gimmick in 2004. He had some great matches with Randy Orton in 05, but this one blew everything else he's done since his return out of the water.
Pure wrestling. It's this match right here.
Yes. Yeah, that's enough said. Enough said, my friends. That was an amazing cap off to a really, really great show. Now 2006 is on the trajectory to be a better year. After New Year's Revolution and Royal Rumble weren't so great, here comes No Way Out to save the day. Leave it to the SmackDown crew to really pull through for us. Hit that subscribe button if you've stumbled upon this channel for the first time, and that thumbs up as well. Like Tomas alluded to, we're going to get to all these reviews when we can, when our time permits. Hopefully we'll have our SummerSlam review done on Monday. That's the hope. But yeah, I'm going to be watching I'm going to be watching that show after I get off work on Saturday. I'm very excited to talk about Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk in the main event. But with that said,
I'm looking forward to Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa for the WWE title.
Oh, you mean the set dressing for Roman Reigns' return? Yeah, I know.
You don't know that.
Yeah.
Kunta and Damian Priest is gonna be a good match.
It's gonna be amazing. I think it's gonna be a great house fight. Yeah, it's a formality for Gunther.
And Sami Zayn's going to be a good match.
It's all gonna be great. Yeah. So hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with us, and that thumbs up as well. Thank you again so much for tuning in. Tomas, my brother, I will see you next time, of course. What's up?
Is it AEW doing something next month too?
Kind
of a big deal for them?
Nah, not really too big of a deal. But anyway,
yeah, so we talking about All In at Wembley Stadium too. I had to think about it because God forbid we go through 1 month with only one wrestling show. No, AEW always got to get in the fun.
Yeah,
we will be talking about all of that and more.
Stay tuned. Next on the retro, of course, is the Showcase of the Immortals. Big time! WrestleMania 22. Even though it's in a 18,000 seat arena. Doesn't feel very big time, but
I have a lot of memories with this WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah.
We can talk about it, despite
Can't
that
wait.
shitty poster.
Yeah. So, guys, hit that subscribe button like I said. Commence that back talk. Talk to you guys soon.